Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome back to the spectacular World Chess Championship match between the current world champion Ding Liren from China and of course the young talented World Chess Championship challenger from India Gukesh. We're now in the round 2 of this epic chess event, in which we have to say it's becoming already tense battle, because yesterday Ding Liren managed to get the win with the black pieces already in the round 1, which was really crazy. Ding played an outstanding French defense with black, where he found really the best moves, where he found the best strategies. He played almost like a machine yesterday. He found a beautiful early queenside flank attack, and then he stayed really for a long time with the king in the center, where he wasn't scared about any attacking chances by Gukesh. And Gukesh, we have to say, he played too many inaccuracies, mistakes, but I think it was simply a great performance by Ding, not really such a bad performance by Gukesh. So we're now in the round 2, and Gukesh cannot simply lose this game. He has to now make at least a draw in the second round now with the black pieces. If he loses now this game, this could be a very complicated already situation for him. So he has to now find a calm drawish somehow line, and then maybe to try to attack again tomorrow with the white pieces. So let's see now what happened. The game finished a couple of minutes ago with white. Ding Liren opened with the move e4. Gukesh response was e5. Knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4. We have the Italian game. We have now bishop to c5, the gioco piano, and now after move d3 we have now the gioco pianissimo. Really calm game so far. So I really left also Gukesh's choice to play sort of a symmetry, to go into standard ideas, not to deviate anything, playing of course here first of all for a solid position to somehow get the draw in the second game. Knight to f6 by Gukesh. We have now knight to c3. We have now the Italian 4-knight variation, which is not maybe the most often line played by white. Usually white is trying to do some strategies like c3 and d4, but then when you go into these ideas, then you're taking also the natural scores for your knight. The natural scores, of course, then score c3. So now for knight to c3, I would say nothing complicated is going on, but you see so far in this particular line, Ding is already battled for the d5 score. In some lines he could put more pressure against the knight, because the bishop on c5 has already exposed itself, and now you cannot maybe cover this diagonal. So these are tiny little maybe attacking ideas here for white. We have now a6 by Gukesh, trying to of course to do something here on the queen side with a potential flank attack with b5. a4, Ding prevents it, and now d6. Here of course the standard line, trying also to do something here, and maybe also pin now here the knight on f3, and then put more pressure with the move knight to d4. We have now the move casting, and now also a very prophylactic idea here by Gukesh, h6, not allowing to get pinned. And here, instead of this move h6, what I've also analyzed at home, and it is, I think, really a drawish already line, I would say, without so many complications in the early stage of the opening. And I've always searched for opportunities how players could maybe spice up the game somehow to create more of a dynamic position. And I think the only way to maybe somehow complicate things for black already is to play the move bishop to g4. And I think Gukesh didn't want to risk anything today, because he played a really bad game yesterday. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, he's trying to get a drawish position. So probably he knows his theory with this line bishop to g4, but then it gets very complicated after h3, bishop to h5. There are now some lines with bishop to g5. Here, for instance, if I just wanted to demonstrate you also a beautiful line. If, for instance, white goes with g4, then you can even sacrifice knight to g4, h6 g4, bishop to g4, and then you could continue the pressure here with knight to d4, queen to f6, and similar stuff. This would be of course also very nice attacking chance. Of course white doesn't have to play the game like this, but I wanted to really demonstrate you that this move bishop to g4 in the beginning at least is complicating somehow the position. But Gukesh, as I said, didn't want to risk anything. He played now calm h6. He's trying to get really solid position in the early stage of the opening. We have now bishop to e3. Ding goes for the standard idea, because the best pieces on the board by white and by black are these bishops that are of course attacking the f2 and f7 score. So one of the standard ideas of the Italian game is simply to compete against these powerful pieces, and now Gukesh does the same, and we have now a pretty equalish position, I would say, now for both sides. And okay, let's see again how we can at least complicate things a little bit. It's again, every of these other lines is, I think, again, not so complicated to play. It's really drawish idea that these players choose to play today, and the only way maybe to somehow create a sort of an asymmetrical position is to go maybe with the line knight to d5. This is even the most often played move now in this particular line. Knight to d5 would then, I don't know, create maybe this line, bishop to e3. This line has been played many times in chess history. Then after f takes e3, bishop to d5, e takes d5, creates at least an unbalanced position. You see the pawn structure is not symmetrical anymore. At least you're attacking somehow. And then after knight to e7, things could get a little bit complicated because of a powerful line with knight to h4. Again, also in this line, I wanted to demonstrate you that black cannot take this pawn on d5 immediately because of a very nasty attack. Then you're trying to play maybe g6. Look at this, we pick up this one, then you go with knight to g7, king to f8. It's not possible because of a tactic, knight to e6. Then you're trying maybe to play king to e7, and now after queen to f3, here this could be very hard to defend. After queen to d5 here, white should be much better. Black doesn't have to, of course, play the game like this, but I wanted to show you again that only the move knight to d5 creates at least some kind of a complication on the board. Every other line is somehow, again, simply a drawish sequence. So after bishop to e6 here by Gukesh, Ding goes into a theoretical novelty actually with the move a5, and this move is, I think, perfectly fine. First of all, what this move is doing is, of course, white creates a space advantage on the queen side and is never allowing any progress by black here on the queen side. Probably Ding has somewhere this line prepared, but the downside, the small downside about this move is that now the rook is stuck simply to the defense of the a5 pawn till the end of the game. So it's very hard now to protect this pawn with b4 because black has a great control of this square. You have your spaces, but you have to also worry now about this pawn till the end of the game. So really interesting line here by Ding Liren. So Gukesh continues with bishop to c4, d takes c4, castling, and now bishop to c5, d takes c5, and we have now not really an interesting situation where the pawn structure is symmetrical. We have a 4 versus 4 on the queen side, 4 versus 4 on the king side. Nothing dramatic can really happen. Only the knights are on the board. There are maybe several weaknesses in white's and black's position. First of all, white has a great attacking chance with knight to d5, but black has, of course, also some opportunities with knight to d4. Although maybe a slightly problem, as we mentioned, is this pawn that is simply that simply has to be protected by the rook on a1. But okay, here b3 by Ding, connecting now every pawn here on the queen side. As I said, this is a loose pawn on a5. Queen to d1, Gukesh simplifies the game, and after rook to d1, we have now perfect and equalish position now for both sides. Rook from a to d8. Gukesh is competing, of course, in the d5, and you see now the problems. If, for instance, rook to d1 happens, then this pawn could be hanging. But Ding solves these problems with a beautiful move, rook to c1, getting out of this attack. Black cannot even occupy this second rank because of the knight's activity, so nothing again dramatic can happen now here for both sides. Gukesh goes now for the d4 square, which is, I think, an interesting move that again at least somehow spices up the game. There are not again many choices that you can play, but I was very curious what's going to happen after potential knight to e5. After knight to e5, it's not such a big deal here for black because black can go into this line, rook to e8, and even if white continues now with the support of the knight on e5, then you have this one, knight takes e4, and now you play a beautiful knight to e2. The fork against the king and the rook, and the point is that you don't want to pick up the rook. Then white would be better here with two knight here against maybe this rook, so you can also try here first of all to play the move knight to c3, escaping first of all not to take immediately because the knights are lined up, and now in one moment you will get your piece back because this square is taken, and this should be a much better position for white. But the point is here, after instead of this move knight to c1, you can pick up simply the pawn on f4, then knight to f7, king to f7, and again we would reach a pretty equalish position position, white will simply step back with the king, with the knight, and this is, I think, a perfect draw. So here after knight to d4, that's why Ding played a solid knight to e1, gets out of the attack by the knight, and is trying now to play the move f3, keeping everything glued together, everything compact here in the center of the board. Rook to d6, now king to f1, good move by Ding, going simply towards the center. g6, rook to d1, now Ding can compete again on the d file, because now finally the knight is covering the c2 pawn. We have now rook from f to d8, f3, king to g7, king to f2, an improvement of the king also by Ding, and now after move h5, we have now knight to e2 here. Gukesh doesn't want to, Ding doesn't want to tolerate anymore this powerful knight of blacks in the center of the board. Gukesh retreats. Here Ding plays knight to c3 again, and after a couple more moves, we have now a 3 times repetition. The game actually ended with this thematic draw. So not such a great game, but this is a World Chess Championship match. You see the stakes are high. Great choice, I would say, by Gukesh. He showed here that he's also ready to sometimes suffer a little bit with the black pieces to somehow get a drawish position immediately in the early stage of the opening. Tomorrow he's playing again with the white pieces, so maybe he could start again to play more aggressively, but it was very important, as mentioned in the beginning, to not lose the second game. If this game would have Ding Liren won, I think this would be then a complicated situation for Gukesh. So far he's now only 1 point behind Ding, and only 1 win can change really the dynamics of the World Chess Championship match in 2024. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. Really enjoyed it because of some tactical opportunities that we saw in the opening of the Italian game, but so far it was a solid draw. The position was too symmetrical. That's the curse of symmetry in chess. So okay, if you want to see also the other game that we have analyzed from this match so far, here's the link of the video. And if you want to see also some other commented chess games, here on my YouTube chess channel, check out our commented chess games played by computers, where we analyze really some great aggressive sharp tactical games. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.